The Kaldrith Empire controlled 47 star systems. Their warships moved through space like predators, and every species they encountered had two choices: surrender or die. For 300 years, no one had been foolish enough to choose death. The Empire's military strength was unmatched. Their technology was superior. Their soldiers were trained from birth to conquer. Admiral Voss stood on the bridge of the Imperial Dreadnought Sovereign's Wrath and studied the holographic display before him. The image showed a small yellow star with 8 planets orbiting around it. The third planet glowed blue and green. According to the scouts, this world was called Earth. The species living there called themselves humans. Voss had read the initial reports. The humans had discovered faster than light travel only 200 years ago. They had colonies on 3 nearby star systems, but their population was concentrated on their homeworld. Their weapons were primitive: kinetic projectiles instead of energy beams, chemical propulsion instead of plasma drives. They had no defensive shields on their ships. It would be a massacre. Behind Voss, the War Council assembled. 20 admirals, each commanding a fleet of their own. General Krath, Supreme Commander of the Ground Forces. High Minister Dalvin, who spoke for the Emperor himself. They gathered around the holographic star map, and every face showed the same expression: hunger. The humans had resources: rare metals, exotic compounds, agricultural worlds, and most importantly, they had location. Their system sat on the edge of a major trade route that the Empire wanted to control. The humans were simply in the way. General Krath spoke first, his voice rough like grinding stone. Our ground forces can take the primary world within 3 weeks. The human military uses outdated tactics. They fight in formation using cover and concealment. Our scans show they still build physical fortifications. It's almost primitive. Admiral Senna laughed. Their space navy won't last 3 days. We counted only 47 warships in their entire fleet. We have 200 capital ships in this battle group alone. The math is simple. High Minister Dalvin raised one clawed hand. Protocol must be observed. Before we crush them, we must offer terms. The Emperor demands it. Every species is given the chance to surrender peacefully. The humans will refuse, of course. They always do. But we must follow tradition. Voss nodded. Send the message. Invite their leaders to attend our council. Let them see our strength. Let them understand how hopeless their position is. Perhaps they will be wise enough to kneel. The message was sent. Voss expected the humans to send diplomats or politicians. Species usually did. They would arrive with proposals and compromises, trying to negotiate for better terms. The Kaldrith would refuse everything, demonstrate their military power, and watch the human delegation crumble. 3 days later, the human ship arrived. It was small, barely larger than a shuttle. The hull was dark gray metal, scarred and worn. No decorative elements. No grand design. It looked like a tool, not a statement. The ship docked with the Sovereign's Wrath and the airlock cycled open. Only 6 humans stepped through. 5 wore black combat uniforms and carried weapons. They moved like soldiers, their eyes constantly scanning for threats. But the 6th human was different. She was shorter than the others, with dark hair pulled back in a tight knot. Her uniform was simple, with only a few colored ribbons on the chest. She carried no weapon except a small electronic tablet. The Kaldrith guards, each standing 9 feet tall in powered armor, dwarfed the humans. Voss watched through the security feeds as the human delegation was escorted through the ship. The humans showed no fear. They studied everything with calm, analytical eyes, like they were gathering intelligence. The human commander's name was General Sarah Chen. Voss had researched her before the meeting. She had served in the human military for 32 years. She had commanded forces in 3 separate wars. All of them were wars against other humans. Her record showed she was competent, but nothing exceptional. Certainly nothing that would trouble the Empire. The War Council chamber was enormous. The ceiling rose 50 feet high. Holographic displays covered every wall, showing the might of the Kaldrith fleet. 200 warships hung in space outside, their weapons charged and ready. The message was clear. Resistance was suicide. General Chen and her escort were shown to a small platform in the corner of the chamber. It was positioned lower than the main council floor, forcing them to look up at the Kaldrith admirals. Another calculated insult. The humans stood at attention, their expressions neutral. High Minister Dalvin spoke, his voice amplified through the chamber. Humans, you have been summoned to hear the terms of the Kaldrith Empire. Your civilization has expanded into territory that rightfully belongs to us. Your technology is inferior. Your military is weak. You cannot win a war against us. He paused, letting the words hang in the air. The Emperor, in his mercy, offers you a choice. Surrender now. Your worlds will be integrated into the Empire. Your people will serve as laborers and soldiers under Kaldrith command. Your resources will be claimed for the greater good. You will pay tribute annually. In return, you will be protected and allowed to exist. Another pause. Refuse, and we will take your worlds by force. Your cities will burn. Your people will be enslaved. Your civilization will be erased from history. These are your only options. You have 1 hour to decide. The Kaldrith admirals expected shouting, anger, desperate pleas for better terms. Instead, General Chen simply nodded once. I understand your position, High Minister. Before my government makes a decision, I have a request. Dalvin looked surprised. A request? Yes, sir. I would like permission to tell you some stories. About my homeworld. About humanity. I think this information might be relevant to your decision to invade us. It won't take long, perhaps 30 minutes. The War Council exchanged glances. Several admirals made gestures of amusement. Stories? What kind of negotiating tactic was this? Admiral Voss leaned forward, curious despite himself. You want to tell us stories? Not negotiate? Not plead for mercy? General Chen's expression didn't change. I want to provide information, Admiral. You're making a military decision. Military decisions should be based on complete intelligence. Right now, you're missing some critical data about Earth and humanity. I can fill in those gaps. After that, you can make whatever decision you want. General Krath laughed, the sound echoing through the chamber. This is your strategy? Bedtime stories? Consider it a briefing, Chen said simply. You're planning to invade my world. I'm going to tell you exactly what you're invading. Then you can decide if it's worth the cost. High Minister Dalvin waved one hand dismissively. Very well, human. You have 30 minutes. Entertain us with your stories. It changes nothing, but protocol allows for final words. Speak. General Chen set her tablet on a small podium and activated it. A holographic image of Earth appeared above her head, rotating slowly. Beautiful blue oceans, green and brown continents, white clouds swirling in the atmosphere. She looked up at the assembled Kaldrith leaders, and when she spoke, her voice was calm and cold. Before you invade my homeworld, you should know how Earth is classified in the Galactic Environmental Index. Have any of you checked? Silence? No? Then let me tell you. Earth is classified as a Class 12 death world, one of the most hostile environments known to support sapient life. And humans didn't just survive there. We evolved there. Let me explain what that means. The holographic image of Earth rotated slowly above General Chen's head. The Kaldrith admirals watched with expressions ranging from amusement to impatience. They had given the human 30 minutes to speak. It was a formality, nothing more. After she finished her stories, the invasion would proceed as planned. General Chen touched her tablet and the image changed. Earth appeared again, but different this time. The continents were in wrong positions. The oceans were darker. The atmosphere had a greenish tint. This is Earth 252 million years ago, Chen said. Her voice was steady, like she was giving a military briefing. The planet you see here was dying. Volcanic eruptions on a scale you can barely imagine. The largest extinction event in our world's history. We call it the Permian-Triassic extinction. She looked up at the Kaldrith Council. 96% of all species in the oceans died. 70% of all species on land died. The atmosphere filled with toxic gases. The oceans turned acidic. The temperature rose 15 degrees. For millions of years, Earth was a nightmare world where almost nothing could survive. Admiral Voss frowned. Why tell us this? It proves your world was weak, no, Admiral. It proves life on my world is stubborn. The extinction didn't kill everything. Some things survived. They adapted. They changed. And when the planet finally stabilized, life exploded back stronger than before. Evolution on Earth doesn't create the strongest species. It creates the species that refuse to die. She changed the image again. Now Earth looked more familiar, but a massive object was approaching the planet. A rock the size of a mountain trailing fire. 66 million years ago, this asteroid hit Earth. It was 6 miles wide. It was traveling at 45,000 miles per hour. When it struck, it released energy equivalent to 10 billion of our atomic bombs. The impact created an explosion that could be seen from space. Dust and debris filled the atmosphere and blocked out the sun for years. The temperature dropped. Plants died. Animals starved. General Chen's voice remained calm. 75% of all species died. The dominant life forms on Earth were huge reptiles we call dinosaurs. They had ruled the planet for 165 million years. The asteroid killed almost all of them in a matter of months. Again, "You prove your world is fragile," said Admiral Senna. "No. I prove that extinction events are normal on Earth. My world tries to kill everything that lives on it, regularly, and life keeps coming back." Chen changed the image again. After the dinosaurs died, small mammals survived. They were tiny creatures that hid in burrows and ate whatever they could find. They were our ancestors. The image shifted to show ice covering vast areas of land, glaciers miles thick crushing everything beneath them. For the last 2 million years, Earth has experienced cycles of ice ages. The temperature drops. Ice covers entire continents. Species either adapt, migrate, or die. This happened over and over, and our ancestors survived all of it. She paused, letting the Caldrith absorb this information. "You need to understand something fundamental about life on Earth. My planet is actively hostile. It has violent weather, earthquakes that can level cities, volcanoes that can darken the sky for years, hurricanes with winds over 200 miles per hour, tsunamis that can destroy coastlines, and this is just the environment." Chen touched her tablet again and images of Earth creatures appeared. A massive reptile with powerful jaws emerged from murky water. This is a saltwater crocodile. They have existed virtually unchanged for 200 million years. Do you know why? Because they're already perfect killing machines. They can hold their breath for hours. They can go months without eating. They can bite with a force of 3,700 pounds. They wait in water, completely still, and then explode into motion when prey comes near. They're ambush predators that have mastered their craft. More images appeared. A great white shark, mouth open, showing rows of serrated teeth. This species has existed for 16 million years. It can smell blood from 3 miles away. It can detect electrical impulses from muscle contractions. It never stops moving. If it stops, it dies. A massive white bear appeared next. Polar bears. They can smell prey from 20 miles away. They can run 30 miles per hour. They have no natural predators. They see every other animal as food, including humans. The images kept coming. Poison dart frogs. Box jellyfish with transparent bodies and venom that can kill in minutes. Parasitic wasps that lay eggs inside living hosts and the larvae eat their way out. Spiders that can kill with a single bite. Snakes with heat vision that can strike in complete darkness. Earth didn't just create one apex predator, Chen said. It created thousands. Every environment has something that can kill you. Oceans, jungles, deserts, mountains, Arctic wastes. And humans had to survive all of it. She changed the image to show early humans walking upright across open grasslands. Our ancestors were not the strongest, not the fastest, not the best armed. We couldn't fly. We couldn't breathe underwater. We didn't have claws or fangs or venom. So how did we survive? General Chen's expression remained neutral, but her eyes were cold. We became persistent. Humans are endurance hunters. We can run for days without stopping. Our bodies cool through sweat, which means we can chase prey in heat that would kill most animals. We track wounded animals for miles, sometimes for weeks, until they collapse from exhaustion. We're not fast, but we never stop coming. Admiral Voss shifted uncomfortably. Something about the way Chen spoke made him uneasy. She wasn't bragging. She was stating facts like she was describing a dangerous animal species. Humans have the highest pain tolerance of any known sapient species. Chen continued. We tested this. Pain that would incapacitate other beings we can function through. Because on Earth, if you stop moving when you're injured, you die. So we evolved to keep going even when we're hurt. She pulled up images of human skeletal structure. Our bones are dense and strong. They can heal from fractures in weeks. Our muscles can push far beyond normal limits in emergency situations. We call it hysterical strength. Humans have lifted vehicles weighing thousands of pounds to save trapped family members. Our bodies have built-in override systems that unlock reserves of strength when we're desperate. The images changed to show human eyes. We have forward-facing eyes like predators, not prey. We have color vision to spot ripe fruit and track blood trails. We have excellent hand-eye coordination for throwing weapons. We can throw rocks and spears with deadly accuracy at distances other species can't match. General Chen walked slowly across her platform, her hands behind her back. Humans evolved on a world that was constantly trying to kill us. We survived 5 major extinction events. We survived ice ages. We survived droughts and floods and plagues. We watched species with bigger brains, bigger bodies, and better adaptations go extinct while we kept surviving. She stopped and looked directly at High Minister Dalvin. You wanted to know about humans before you invade us. This is what you need to know. We are not the strongest species in the galaxy. We are not the smartest. We are not the most advanced. But we are the most stubborn. We come from a world that should have killed us 1,000,000 times over. And we're still here. The Kaldrith Council was silent now. The amusement had faded from their faces. Every species you've conquered came from garden worlds, Chen said quietly. Stable climates, predictable weather, gentle evolution. They learned cooperation and civilization because their worlds allowed it. Earth didn't allow it. Earth demanded we evolve to survive or die. So we evolved. And what we evolved into is something you need to understand before you decide to invade our home. She touched her tablet one final time, and the image changed to show Earth again, beautiful and blue, floating in the darkness of space. This is the world that made us. Now let me tell you about the species it created. General Chen stood quietly for a moment, letting the image of Earth hang in the air above her. The Kaldrith admirals were no longer laughing. They watched her with increased attention, though Admiral Voss suspected they didn't yet understand why her stories should concern them. She was describing a dangerous world, yes, but the Empire had conquered dangerous species before. Then Chen began speaking again, and her tone changed, became harder. 10,000 years ago, humans discovered agriculture. We learned to plant crops and domesticate animals. This allowed us to build permanent settlements, cities, civilizations. You might think this made us peaceful. It didn't. She pulled up a map showing various human territories across Earth's history. For the last 10,000 years, humans have been at war almost constantly. Not against predators, not against natural disasters, against each other. We fought over territory, resources, religion, ideas. We became very good at killing our own species. The map changed, showing an empire spreading across a vast area. 1,300 years ago, a human named Genghis Khan built an empire. He conquered more land than any human before him. His armies killed approximately 40 million people. That was 11% of the entire human population at the time. His strategy was simple: surrender or be destroyed. Cities that resisted were burned. Every person inside was killed as a warning to others. General Krath leaned forward. So humans understand the logic of overwhelming force. We understand it, Chen agreed. We've used it. We've also resisted it. Let me continue. She showed images of more recent human history. Cities in ruins, soldiers in trenches, machines of war. 110 years ago, humans fought what we call the World Wars. 2 massive conflicts where dozens of nations fought each other using industrial technology. In the first war, 20 million humans died. In the second war, 70 to 85 million died. The numbers made several Kaldrith shift uncomfortably. Those were significant casualties for wars between members of the same species. In the second war, humans developed atomic weapons. We split the atom and turned it into bombs. The first bomb we used destroyed an entire city instantly. 80,000 people dead in seconds. We used a second bomb 3 days later on another city. 40,000 dead immediately, with thousands more dying slowly from radiation. Chen's voice remained steady. We are a species that looked at the fundamental building blocks of matter and asked how we could make them explode. We succeeded. We built weapons that could destroy our entire civilization, and we came very close to using them. She showed footage of mushroom clouds rising into the sky, massive explosions that dwarfed anything natural. After the World Wars, human nations split into 2 groups. They aimed thousands of nuclear weapons at each other. For 40 years, we lived with the knowledge that we could destroy ourselves at any moment. We called it mutually assured destruction. If one side attacked, the other would retaliate and everyone would die. Admiral Senna spoke up. But you didn't destroy yourselves. So humans are capable of restraint. Barely, Chen said flatly. We came within minutes of total nuclear war several times. Computer errors, miscommunications, accidents. We survived through luck more than wisdom. But here's what you need to understand. We built weapons that could kill our entire species, and we didn't hesitate to build them. Self-preservation doesn't stop humans from creating devastating weapons. Fear of death doesn't stop us from fighting. We accept casualties that would break other species. She changed the image to show soldiers in combat. Let me tell you about human psychology and warfare. Humans form social bonds stronger than most species. We create units, squads, teams. We become loyal to these small groups. When humans fight, they're not fighting for abstract concepts like empire or territory. They're fighting for the person next to them. The images showed soldiers carrying wounded comrades, fighting to protect each other. Studies of human combat behavior show something interesting. When a human's friend is killed, the human doesn't retreat. They don't break. They become more aggressive, more dangerous. Grief makes us angry, and anger makes us fight harder. General Chen pulled up historical records. Let me give you examples. 2,400 years ago, 300 human soldiers held a mountain pass against an army of hundreds of thousands. They knew they would die. They fought anyway. They killed thousands of enemies before they were overwhelmed. We still tell this story to our children. More images appeared. A fortress surrounded by an army. 490 years ago, fewer than 200 human defenders held a fort against an army of thousands for 13 days. When the fort finally fell, every defender was dead. But they had killed hundreds of attackers and delayed the enemy advance long enough for reinforcements to arrive. 80 years ago, humans fought a battle on an island in the Pacific Ocean. The island was 8 square miles. The battle lasted 36 days. 7,000 humans died taking that island. But they took it. Chen looked directly at Admiral Voss. Do you see the pattern? Humans glorify last stands. We celebrate defeats where we made the enemy pay in blood for every inch of ground. We tell these stories over and over. We make them into legends. Why do you think we do that? The Admiral said nothing. Because that's who we are. Chen answered her own question. We're a species that looks at impossible odds and decides to fight anyway. Surrender is logical. Retreat is logical. Humans don't always do what's logical. We do what's stubborn. She pulled up more military history. Let me tell you about human resistance movements. When enemies occupy human territory, humans don't accept it peacefully. We form underground networks. We sabotage supply lines. We ambush patrols. We make occupation expensive and bloody, sometimes for years, sometimes for generations. Images showed various human conflicts. 100 years ago, a technologically inferior human nation fought a technologically superior occupying force for 30 years. They used guerrilla tactics, hit-and-run attacks, traps, ambushes. They hid in jungles and mountains. The superior force eventually withdrew because the cost of occupation was too high. General Chen walked to the edge of her platform. You're planning to invade Earth with overwhelming force. You'll win the space battle. Your shields will hold against our weapons. You'll achieve orbital superiority quickly. I'm not disputing any of this. But then what? She let the question hang in the air. You'll need to occupy the surface, take control of cities, secure resources, and that's where your problems begin. The hologram changed to show detailed maps of Earth's surface. 8 billion humans live on my world. Not all of them are soldiers, but all of them know how to hate invaders. Human history is full of civilian resistance, insurgencies, uprisings, people fighting with whatever weapons they can find. She zoomed in on a city. This is Tokyo. 37 million humans live in this metropolitan area. The buildings are close together. Thousands of streets, millions of places to hide. How many soldiers would you need to occupy just this one city? How many would you lose to snipers and ambushes and booby traps? More cities appeared. New York, 20 million, Delhi, 30 million, Shanghai, 27 million. These are fortress cities built over centuries. Every building is cover. Every underground tunnel is a defensive position. General Krath spoke, his voice annoyed. We have superior weapons, superior armor. We'll burn the cities if we must. Then you'll hold ruins, Chen said simply. Worthless ruins. You want Earth's resources, not a radioactive wasteland. So you'll need to take cities intact. House by house, building by building, and humans will defend every single one. She pulled up casualty projections. Our military analysts ran the numbers. If you invade Earth with conventional ground forces, you'll need approximately 50 million soldiers to occupy the major population centers. You'll lose at least 10 million in the first year of occupation, possibly more, and that's assuming we fight conventionally, which we won't. The Kaldrith Council stirred uncomfortably. Those were not acceptable casualty figures. Humans don't fight fair, Chen continued. We use chemical weapons, biological weapons, We poison water supplies. We set traps that kill indiscriminately. We use our own civilians as shields. We hide weapons in schools and hospitals. We do whatever we need to do to win. Honor is nice, but survival is better. She looked at each Kaldrith leader in turn.
You think you're invading a primitive species with inferior technology?
You're wrong. You're invading a species that has spent 10,000 years perfecting the art of killing. We've killed more of ourselves than you could possibly kill. We've survived weapons that should have made us extinct. We've endured occupations and sieges and wars that would have broken any other species. General Chen's voice dropped lower. And we have long memories. Even if you win, even if you occupy Earth and subjugate every human alive, we'll remember. We'll wait. We'll plan. And someday, somehow, we'll make you pay for it. That's what humans do. The council chamber was silent. The silence in the council chamber stretched for several seconds. Admiral Voss found himself calculating numbers in his head. 50 million soldiers for occupation, 10 million casualties. Those figures were absurd. The entire Kaldrith military numbered only 30 million across all branches. Even if they conscripted more, training would take years. General Chen wasn't finished. She pulled up a new image, showing a map of islands and a vast ocean. Let me tell you about a specific human war. This will help you understand what invading Earth actually means. The map focused on small dots of land scattered across blue water. 80 years ago, humans fought each other in the Pacific Ocean. One human nation tried to conquer another. They fought for control of these islands. Each island was strategic. Taking them meant moving closer to the enemy homeland. She highlighted one island. This island is called Okinawa. It's 463 square miles. About 500,000 civilians lived there. The attacking force landed 180,000 soldiers. The defenders had 77,000 soldiers plus the civilian militia. The image changed to show battle footage. Soldiers fighting in brutal close combat, explosions, fire. The battle lasted 82 days. The attacking force lost 12,000 dead and 38,000 wounded. The defending force lost 100,000 soldiers. Between 40,000 and 150,000 civilians died, caught in the fighting. She paused, letting those numbers sink in. This was just one island, one battle. In a war where humans fought other humans, we killed each other by the hundreds of thousands for tiny pieces of land. And neither side quit. Neither side surrendered until they were completely destroyed. General Krath crossed his massive arms. You're trying to frighten us with your own savagery. This proves humans are dangerous to each other, not to us. You're missing the point, Chen said. If humans fight each other this hard, imagine how hard we'll fight you. We hate other human nations. We've hated them for thousands of years over small differences. But you're not human. You're not even close. You're completely alien. You threaten our homeworld. Do you understand what that means? She changed the image to show Earth again. Every human knows this planet. We're born here. We grow up here. Our families live here. Our history happened here. Every human culture, every human achievement, every human who ever lived came from this world. It's not just territory to us. It's everything. Admiral Senna spoke up, trying to sound confident. Emotional attachment is irrelevant. Logic dictates surrender when facing superior force. Humans aren't logical when defending home, Chen replied. Let me show you something else. The hologram changed to show different battle scenarios. In almost every human war, defenders fighting on their home territory perform better than attackers even when outnumbered. They know the terrain, they have supply lines, they have civilian support, and they have motivation. You'll be invading a world where every human knows they're fighting to save their families. She pulled up more detailed maps of Earth. You said you'll achieve orbital superiority quickly. I agree. Your fleet will control space around Earth, but space control doesn't win ground wars. You'll need to land troops. Where will you land? The map highlighted various coastal regions. Major cities are the obvious targets, but they're also the most heavily defended. We've had 200 years to build orbital defense platforms, surface-to-air missiles, bunker networks. We built these systems during our Cold War, expecting nuclear attack. They're designed to survive bombardment. She zoomed in on underground structures. Humans are very good at digging. We've built entire cities underground, command centers buried under mountains, factories and cave systems, food storage and deep bunkers. We can survive underground for years if necessary. Your orbital bombardment won't reach us there. Admiral Voss leaned forward. Then we'll starve you out. Cut off your supplies. Wait until you're forced to surrender. That strategy assumes we need constant resupply, Chen said. We don't. Every major population center has stockpiles, food, water, medicine, ammunition. We learned from our own wars. Siege warfare is part of human history. We know how to endure it. She pulled up images of human underground facilities. These bunkers were built to survive nuclear war. They have air filtration, hydroponics for growing food, water recycling, power generation. Some can sustain thousands of people for decades. You'll control the surface, but we'll be fighting from below. The hologram showed a cutaway view of a city with multiple underground levels. Modern human cities aren't just surface structures. We have subway systems, utility tunnels, maintenance passages, entire networks of underground connections. Your soldiers will need to fight in tunnels where their size works against them, where they can't use vehicles or air support, where humans can attack from any direction and disappear into the darkness. General Chen's voice was cold and professional. Your soldiers are excellent fighters in open combat. I've read your military history. You win battles through superior firepower and coordination. But urban warfare is different. Tunnel fighting is different. Every corner is an ambush. Every doorway is a kill zone. Every room needs to be cleared individually. It's slow. It's dangerous. And it's exactly the kind of fighting where human stubbornness becomes an advantage. She pulled up statistics. In human wars, urban combat typically requires a 5-to-1 attacker advantage to succeed. For every defending soldier, you need 5 attackers, and that's just for regular military combat. Against determined resistance with civilian support, those numbers get worse. Admiral Voss did the math quickly in his head. 8 billion humans. Even if only 1% were active fighters, that was 80 million. At 5-to-1 odds, they'd need 400 million soldiers. The Empire didn't have that many. Chen seemed to read his thoughts. You're starting to understand the problem. This isn't like your other conquests. You can't just destroy our fleet and declare victory. You need to occupy Earth, control the population, extract resources. And every day you try to do that, humans will be killing your soldiers. She changed the image to show guerrilla warfare tactics. After you establish occupation, the real war begins. Humans who survive the initial invasion will form resistance cells, small groups, 3 to 5 people. They'll attack your supply convoys, sabotage your equipment, assassinate your officers, and you won't know who they are because they'll look like ordinary civilians. More images showed various resistance tactics throughout human history. Humans are very creative about asymmetric warfare. We plant roadside bombs, we poison food supplies. We send children with explosives. We use suicide tactics when necessary. We don't fight the way you expect because fighting fair means losing, and we'd rather be monsters than lose. The Kaldrith Council members were shifting in their seats now. This wasn't the easy conquest they'd anticipated. And here's something else you need to know, Chen continued. I mentioned our colonies. 3 star systems with significant populations, hundreds of millions of humans, industrial capacity, shipyards. When you invade Earth, they won't surrender. They'll be furious. She pulled up a star map showing the human colonies. These colonies are far enough from Earth that your fleet can't threaten them during the invasion. While you're committing all your forces to taking Earth, they'll be building ships, training soldiers, preparing counterattacks, and they'll have one mission, revenge. Admiral Senna tried to sound dismissive. 3 systems against our empire? The math still favors us, does it? Chen asked. Your entire military will be bogged down occupying Earth. Millions of soldiers tied up in garrison duty. Your fleet scattered trying to maintain control. Your economy strained supporting a massive, endless ground war. And human colonies hitting your supply lines, attacking your other territories, making you fight on multiple fronts. She looked at High Minister Dalvin. You've conquered other species before. Peaceful species from stable worlds. They surrendered when faced with overwhelming force because surrender was logical. But humans aren't logical. We're survivors from a death world where logic gets you killed. We fight when we should surrender. We attack when we should retreat. We endure when we should break. General Chen pulled up one final image. A human soldier, wounded and exhausted, still holding a weapon. This is what you'll be fighting. Not the human ships you can destroy. Not the human cities you can bombard. But this. Individual humans who refuse to quit. Millions of them. Billions of them. All of them willing to die to make you pay for every inch of our world. She looked directly at the Emperor's representative. You wanted war. You can have it. But understand the price. This won't be a quick conquest. It'll be decades of grinding urban warfare, millions of casualties, massive resource drain, constant guerrilla attacks, an entire generation of your soldiers fighting and dying on a hostile world. And at the end, even if you win, you'll hold a devastated planet populated by humans who will hate you forever. The council chamber was completely silent now. Every Kaldrith present was doing the same calculations, the same terrible math. General Chen powered down her tablet. Or, she said quietly, you could make a different choice. The words hung in the air like a challenge. High Minister Dalvin stared at General Chen, his expression unreadable. Around the council chamber, the Kaldrith admirals sat in uncomfortable silence. Outside the massive viewports, 200 warships waited for orders to begin the invasion. But those orders didn't come. Admiral Voss was the first to speak. What choice? You've spent 30 minutes telling us how dangerous humans are, how costly an invasion would be. Are you suggesting we simply walk away? The Kaldrith Empire doesn't retreat from inferior species. I'm not suggesting retreat, Chen said calmly. I'm suggesting you think strategically instead of emotionally. You want Earth's resources. You want control of this trade route. You want to expand your territory. I understand these goals. They're reasonable military objectives. She walked slowly across her platform, her hands clasped behind her back. But there are multiple ways to achieve those objectives. Invasion is one way, costly, time-consuming, bloody. But there's another way that gets you what you want without the casualties, General Krath growled. You're going to propose some kind of alliance, some diplomatic compromise where we pretend humans are equals. Not equals, Chen said. Partners. There's a difference. Let me explain what humans have that you want, and what you have that we want. She activated her tablet again, displaying resource charts. Earth has rare metals, exotic compounds, agricultural products. You want these things. We can provide them. Through trade, not conquest. You pay us fair prices, we sell you what you need. Both sides benefit. No war necessary. Admiral Senna laughed, but it sounded forced. Why would we pay for what we can simply take? Because taking it will cost you more than buying it, Chen said bluntly. You'll spend decades and millions of lives taking Earth. You'll destroy much of what you're trying to capture. You'll turn humans into permanent enemies. And the whole time, your economy will suffer from the military drain. By the time you win, you'll have spent more than you gained. She pulled up economic projections. Our analysts ran the numbers. The resources you'd extract from Earth over 50 years are worth approximately 12 trillion credits in your economy. The cost of invading and occupying Earth for 50 years is estimated at 40 to 60 trillion credits. You'll lose money on this war. High Minister Dalvin leaned forward. You're assuming your resistance would last 50 years. I'm being conservative, Chen replied. It could last longer. Humans have fought occupations for centuries. We're patient when we need to be. But let's say I'm wrong. Let's say you crush our resistance in 20 years. You'll still have spent more than you gained. The math doesn't work in your favor. She changed the display to show trade proposals. On the other hand, peaceful trade is profitable immediately. We sell you resources at market rates. You sell us technology we need. Both economies grow. Both civilizations benefit. And neither of us wastes lives on a pointless war. Admiral Voss studied the numbers, then shook his head. This assumes we trust humans to honor agreements. You've spent the last 30 minutes explaining how treacherous and ruthless your species is. I explained how we fight when threatened, Chen corrected. That's different from how we trade. Humans are excellent trading partners when we're not at war. We honor contracts. We value long-term relationships. We understand mutual benefit. Ask yourself, why have humans spent the last 200 years trading peacefully with other human nations instead of constantly fighting? Because we learned that cooperation is more profitable than conquest. She pulled up human economic history. After our world wars, the human nations that fought each other became close allies. Former enemies became trading partners. We rebuilt together. We shared technology. We created economic unions that benefited everyone. We're capable of cooperation when there's reason for it. General Krath spoke again, his voice skeptical. And what technology could we possibly want from humans? You admitted your own technology is inferior. Inferior in some ways, Chen agreed. But we have things you don't. Our kinetic weapons are actually very efficient. They're simple, reliable, and cheap to produce. Your energy weapons are more powerful, but they require more maintenance and resources. Sometimes simple is better. She displayed more comparisons. Humans are good at manufacturing. We build things quickly and cheaply because we've had to. We've developed efficient production methods you could use. We're also good at adaptation. We solve problems creatively because our harsh world forced us to. That creativity has value. Admiral Senna interrupted. You're trying to sell us on human creativity? That's your argument. Part of it, Chen said. But there's something else. Something more important. You're an empire that's been expanding for 300 years. You've conquered dozens of species. And now you're considering attacking another one. Have you asked yourself what that's doing to your empire? The question caught them off guard. High Minister Dalvin frowned. What do you mean? I mean that constant conquest is expensive, Chen said. Not just in lives and resources. In administration. In garrison forces. In dealing with resentful subject species. Every world you conquer requires soldiers to control it. Those soldiers can't be used for anything else. They're just sitting on occupied planets making sure the locals don't rebel. She pulled up statistics on the Kaldrith Empire. According to our intelligence, you currently have garrison forces on 43 subject worlds. That's 15 million soldiers doing occupation duty, 15 million soldiers who could be productive members of your society. But instead they're babysitting resentful aliens who hate you. The Kaldrith admirals shifted uncomfortably. This was not something they liked to discuss. Add Earth to that list, Chen continued. Another 20 to 50 million soldiers tied up in permanent occupation. Another drain on your economy. Another world where humans will sabotage your efforts and kill your soldiers whenever they can. Is that really what you want? She looked around the council chamber. Or you could try something different. Make humans allies instead of enemies. We trade with you. We share technology. We cooperate on mutual defense. And instead of costing you millions of soldiers, we add our strength to yours. Admiral Voss leaned back in his seat. You're suggesting humans would fight alongside the Kaldrith Empire? After we threatened your homeworld? I'm suggesting humans are pragmatic, Chen said. Right now you're a threat. But if you became a partner, that changes. Humans fight viciously when threatened, but we're also capable of forgiveness when there's benefit in it. We've done it before with our own nations. She pulled up images of human soldiers working together. During our world wars, humans who fought each other brutally later became allies. We forgave past violence when circumstances changed. We're capable of practical cooperation even with former enemies. All you need to do is stop being enemies. High Minister Dalvin stood up, his voice sharp. This is manipulation. You're threatening us with the cost of victory while offering a peaceful alternative. This is just another form of warfare. Yes, Chen agreed simply. It's called diplomacy. I'm giving you all the information so you can make the best decision. You asked for surrender. I'm offering something different. Partnership, trade, mutual benefit. You can reject it if you want. You can still invade, but you'll do it knowing exactly what it will cost you. She powered down her tablet and stood at attention. You have 200 warships outside. You can destroy our small fleet easily. You can bombard our cities. You can land troops and begin the invasion. I can't stop you. No one can. But before you give that order, ask yourself, is it worth it? The council chamber fell silent again. Outside the viewports, the Kaldrith battle fleet hung in space, weapons charged and ready. One order from High Minister Dalvin would begin the war. Everyone in the room knew it. Finally, the Emperor's representative spoke. You've made your argument. Your 30 minutes are over. We will deliberate. You and your escort will be returned to your ship. You'll remain in orbit while we decide. General Chen saluted, human style, her hand snapping to her forehead. Understood, High Minister. Whatever you decide, I hope you'll remember this conversation. She turned and walked toward the exit, her security escort falling in behind her. The Kaldrith guards opened the doors. Just before she left, Admiral Voss called out, General Chen, one question. She stopped and turned back. If we invade, Voss asked slowly, if we commit to this war, will humans really fight to the last person? General Chen met his eyes. Admiral in all of human history, across thousands of cultures and millions of stories, do you know what we celebrate most? Not our victories, not our peaceful achievements. We celebrate our last stands. We worship the battles we lost because we made the enemy pay for every inch. We tell stories about 300 soldiers holding a pass, about defenders dying to the last man rather than surrender, about resistance movements that fought for generations. She paused. That's who we are. We're a species that looks at certain death and decides it's worth it if we can hurt you badly enough. So yes, Admiral, we'll fight to the last human. We'll make your victory so expensive that you'll wish you'd never found Earth. And your empire will remember this war for centuries as the worst mistake you ever made." Then she turned and left, the door closing behind her.